Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, it's great to be in the Empire today. What we got going on, although it might be great to be in this Empire, we're gonna get a little rebellious here and talk about an absurd amount of power that is literally sitting in your roster. It would just be foolish to ignore this. It's literally free power waiting for you to grasp it. We're freaking pigs! And of all things, it's literally decimating meta where you can just hit auto and steamroll one of the most difficult Galactic legends, Galactic legend Leia Organa. Come on over. Let me explain what's going on. So we're almost at a 3v3, which means a 5v5 is right around the corner, which means we're going into our last conquest cycle for Bane. And with that, indirectly, not the most exciting thing, but it's important for this context of this video, you'll be able to farm Datacrons in this last cycle when we get into the Bane. And I really want to put this on your radar. And again, I know they're gonna be like, oh, he said the D word, I'm leaving the video, and that's fine. But I think we need to have a little bit of an open mind here, because this is an absurd amount of power for a character that I know tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have with Mon Mothma, Biggs Darklighter. If you're ignoring this, you're missing out on something incredible. And again, you don't need to spend money to get at least one decent Datacron or two. This is my free-to-play account. I haven't spent any money. Nobody plays my free-to-play account except for me. I was able to get a full level 9 with the more scoundrel-oriented Datacrons, a couple level 6s, level 3s. With the current set, I got a couple of level 6s, I got a couple of level 3s. So it is very possible to do this free-to-play without going out of your way while you're doing your feats and all the other stuff associated with Conquest. You can get at least one decent Datacron up and running. Well, whether or not you get the right Datacron, that's a whole other thing, up to RNGesus. But I really want to put this on your radar. I mentioned this when we first got word of the new Datacron, so I'm like, this is gonna be pretty nuts. And indeed, it's really nuts. And I just want to get this on your radar before we get into Conquest, before you farm Datacrons, and more important, before the next 5v5 Grand Arena. This right here might deter me completely putting Galactic Legend Leia on defense. I'm not even kidding. I'm never gonna keep in suspense. Let's just go hop in the battle and let me just show you. Let me convince you this is gonna be crazy. It doesn't seem like no matter what Leia lineup, I think there's one Leia lineup that could possibly stop this. I'll tell you in a moment. I'm just gonna hit this on full auto. Let's just make sure we target Leia, and they're gonna be off to the races here in a moment. They're gonna get so, there we go. Once we get POW up and running, it's basically game over at this point. And hopefully it'll make sense. Even coming from me, where at best, I reluctantly deal with Datacrons. And, you know, most situations, I despise them for a variety of reasons. It would be foolish not to put this on your guys' radar. Again, no crazy team that we're utilizing. Characters a lot of you guys have up and running because of the variety of things you've built up over time. Beating such an incredibly powerful team, that being Legend Leia Organa, where literally I hit auto, and in a few moments here within our first minute or so, we're gonna have Leia down for the count. And that's it. So hopefully you guys can agree with me that this is maybe worth a little conversation to have, everybody. So let me explain a little bit more in depth what is going on here, and I'll explain maybe the one way you could stop this. Again, I can't guarantee it, but there might be a chance that you could stop it. And this is a pretty crazy departure from last Grand Arena season with the Datacrons, where Leia was just literally unbearable. This season, they definitely toned down her power, they increased the others a little bit more, and they gave a lot of options to just decimate teams. And we see Chirrut Imwe, people took notice of that, and they're utilizing. Again, you don't need the money comes when you want the full roster of level 9s. It doesn't take money to get 1-2 decent Datacrons up and running. So let me show you what we got cooking here. Biggs Darklighter is the focal point of all this, and the Datacron. The level 3 really isn't all that important. I mean, you know, if you could put some bonus protection on, cool. The most important thing is the following two things: the level 6 and level 9 bonus. And remember, they tuned the Datacrons where, although I wish there was no Relic Gate, it is what it is. You only need Relic 5 on your Biggs Darklighter to take advantage of level 9 rather than Relic 7 like they used to require. You want to have this whenever Rebel Fighter allies get a buff, grant the buff to another. Like, goodness, you think the tactical scanners can freaking read? That ally gains 10% Terminator limited once per turn per ally. And as you can imagine, it's probably a lot of Terminator being fed. And more importantly, whenever another ally attacks during Biggs Darklighter's turn, Biggs Darklighter and that ally gain 25% Terminator. And when we know everyone's going to be assisting with the Mon Mothma lead when a Rebel Fighter takes a turn, you know, we're all, you know, high IQ individuals around. We play freaking mobile games. We can make pretty nice assumptions what that means, which means, as you saw, you basically roll a turn meter train. There isn't anything fancy to this. I really don't have anything special. I didn't like remod. I just have whatever my mods are on bigs, which again, it doesn't really matter. Again, once the turn meter train starts rolling, it just goes. Again, I'm actually kind of embarrassed to show some of these mods because I don't really keep my Rebel fighters too up to par because, you know, they're not the most important things. But the fact I literally just threw on the Datacron, walked in, hit auto, called it a day. You really can't ask more about that. And like I usually tell you guys, all right, this is a little fluky. This is gonna happen. That's gonna happen. I so far ran this consistently, and it's been running very well. You know, you get a couple of close calls like that, or maybe bigs. You know, they go all in on bigs because they know he's kind of the big boss on this team right here. But so far, I'm 100% consistent on this. Just once you finally get your turns rolling, you're rolling at that point. Look at all that Terminator that we're getting fed between the Hawthorable Scouts basic, between Biggs Dark Lord, between all the buffs on here. There's just so much Terminator being pumped into this team that it just Leia's rarely going to get an option to really step in and do anything. Which is, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. This is literally like a repeat, or like a complete 180. It's not 360. I hate when people say they made a 360. That means you're in the same spot that you began with. Trust me, I know. I play Galactic Heroes. You're a math whiz if you play Galactic Heroes. But it's a complete 180 from the design language and themes and balance that they had for Leia just the past couple months, where Leia went from literally the most annoying team, most difficult team to beat, where now you got things like this, you know, pretty much dunking on her. Guys, I wish there was like a little bit more science behind to kind of explain what's going on here, but there really isn't. This, I hope people, and that's just me showing it up against Leia. I'm sure there's a variety of other things that we can use it up against. I hope you can take the time with this last conquest for Bane to build up this Datacron, so that way you can maintain competitiveness. Who knows if this is going to be decent on defense at all? You know, I don't want to go that far to say that. There could be a chance where that'll happen. The only thing where maybe you might run into a problem is, number one, if there's a tank in the way. But again, that's a very minute problem. The second you get a tank, you get Combat Carl from the Mon Mothma spawn. He'll do a buff the spell. So that way, so you get around the tank. Not a big deal. And then you just go all in on Leia. There's really not much in that regard. The only other thing that maybe could cause a problem is maybe a really fast Captain Rex. The Rebel Captain Rex, the one that everyone loves from last year, 2023. The problem is, you're going to get a lot of cleanses, and so it might be a non-issue, especially if Biggs gets the train rolling. But if Captain Rex can throw down some tenacity down, maybe drop down some days, that could possibly slow down the Mon Mothma train. But again, he has to get out there fast enough, has to outrun Biggs. And the biggest problem with Biggs is that, well, his unique ability allows him to kind of get the train moving pretty quickly, because remember, he has 100% turn meter, an evasion up for 4 turns after surviving any damage from an Empire enemy or a critical hit from any enemy. So I'll roll. In case you don't believe me, I'll roll it one more time to try to convince you guys, like maybe True, not everyone has a Relic 5 True, even though he is a legacy character. A lot of people should have. And there you go, as you see right here. All right, we got the stun, so that's unfortunate. But that stun, that as you saw with that opening play, generally you get up and running. This is looking a little bit worse. Let's roll with it. Let me show you. I'm waiting for a bad outcome so we can kind of show what's happening here. So, all right, let's go ahead. Same thing, hit the auto. Let me see if maybe they can bounce back here. All right, so that Dazon Powell and Kyle Katarn might be an issue here. All right, hey. I'm glad we're doing this on stream. It kind of shows that some stuff could go wrong. You know what? Let me see it. There we go. All right, so they're coming back. They're coming back here. All right, let me see what happens here. All right, we're going to roll our train. Hopefully Combat Carl gets out here in a second, so that way we can take off the taunt, or the retribution here. All right, Combat Carl, let's go. Combat Carl on the field. Off the spells. All right, now they're rolling. All right, so this is, I think we can agree, it's our worst outcome yet. Biggs got stunned at the beginning. Leia got a couple abilities out here. All right, let's see if they can start rolling. All right, we're gonna lose Pal. He was kind of not helping us out anyways. All right, he's down here. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. Maybe what might be helpful, I mean, it's kind of hard when there's all this tenacity down business, but there might be a chance where maybe tenacity on Biggs could help again. I did nothing fancy with regards to my modding here. All right, now we're down to these two. Okay, let them do their thing. All right, let's get some the buff the spells. Okay, give me some Terminator. Hopefully Mon Mothma can get another revive potential in here. All right, we gotta get that retribution off. There we go. I think we got it off. Okay. All right. Combat crawl on the stun. And all right. You know what? And this is what I like to see. Because that happened to me. I ran this about 10 times. As you can see, I probably am almost out of crystals from testing this out. But I ran this about 10 times or so. Had no issue. But hey, it did happen. There was a pretty bad outcome with that regard where Biggs just got stunned. It was just bad RNG. But, you know, again, I think the biggest thing is, get it, Biggs? The biggest. I laugh at my own jokes. You guys don't have to. I think maybe something to consider just because for the fact I did not optimize the mods on this team. Maybe a tenacity set could mildly help because you want to make sure Biggs, like we saw there, he doesn't get stunned. You know, it might be a little challenging, but maybe, you know, full tenacity sets, so minimal issues with him getting that opening Terminator, because when Leia does that opening play, pretty much most times he's getting critically hit and he runs the operation. You know, there might be another opportunity where, you know, you can maybe, you know what, there might be a chance here where maybe we can get Biggs and Baze on the team. I don't know how important you know what, give me a second. Let me go ahead and get a little bit more crystals for you guys, because there might be a chance, or maybe a pre-taunt could minimize the issues, but right now most people, they're using Baze and Chirrut together as a unit, and for good reason. Baze and Chirrut are dunking on so many Galactic Legends, and they're a little annoying to beat on defense as well. So they got some high priority stuff going on here. But how about we bring you guys back in over just to kind of maybe present another opportunity here to minimize that one loss that we had there. Maybe we get Biggs up in here. Let's go hop back in there. I kind of wonder if maybe Hawthorne Scout or even Kyle Katarn. Ooh, is Kyle Katarn a redundancy here? I mean, he helps out with the damage. I don't want to pull him out, so why don't we do this? Let's go Rebel Fighter. Let's go throw Kyle Katarn back in. Ooh, it's like, you know, we have so much Terminator. You know, I want to keep Pow here. Let's see, just kind of move things around. Maybe we get Baze in there. He'll open up with those first few hits, kind of soak it up. So I don't know. Try it out. Maybe it might be worse. I mean, Hawthorne Scout really is only there for that basic Terminator game, but it's kind of an important Terminator game as well. So I don't want to undermine the importance of it all. But I figured, why not give it another spin? So, all right, so now we have a pre-taunt there. All right, we got stun. That should trigger. There we go. See? All right, and now I'm going to hit auto, and let's see if maybe that helps us out a little bit. All right. Getting some assisting in here. Okay. Nicely done. All right. Now can we start rolling here? All right. And they're off to the races. So again, you know, there are probably ways to make this work. Again, I just kind of threw in the first thing that was kind of working for me. I do feel like maybe Hawthorne Scout might have some much needed Terminator gain just to make sure you're really keeping that train chugging along for the Rebels. I mean, Baze, he kind of served this purpose. I'm not sure how helpful he's going to be beyond that first opening play. You know, but again, just showing that there might be other options that exist on the table depending on what you have. But I don't know how. I'm not just sure how important Baze is, especially because Chirrut and Baze are doing great things. But maybe you don't have the Chirrut Datacron, all that jazz. It looks like we're kind of kicking some butt here. Yeah, it looks like we're kicking butt. I have a feeling Biggs' Datacron is more than sufficient turn meter to make sure we get up and running here. Yeah, come on, keep it moving. Yeah, once Biggs goes, he gets all that, boom, all that turn meter to everyone here. Definitely it feels a little bit slower, but I don't think it's super noticeable because beyond that basic on Hawthorne Scout, not super helpful. And there you go. Awesome. And that's what I love doing this stuff with you guys, because even though I have a lot of success behind the scenes when I'm testing things out, it's always great when you actually see it and you kind of like, ooh, all right, well, how can I fix that problem there? And a pre-taunt seems to help that out. Just that R2 assist doesn't cause any issues. But otherwise, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Again, Datacrons, you know, they have their issues. But this is one of those few times where it's a massive boost to your roster. And again, the biggest problem is I hope you guys get the Datacron. But as you know, RNG is going to RNG. This is the biggest downside of the Datacron, is that you have a lot of have-nots. Some people will get lucky. They get the right one. Hopefully you have some reroll materials that increase your chances of getting that Rebel Datacron. That's, again, I don't want to get into my Datacron rant. I think Datacrons are cool in the general, and from a general standpoint, but the way we get there is the problem that I really have at the end of the day. Take advantage of it. Next Conquest, hope to see you guys get a couple of these Datacrons. Leia should probably not be a huge issue going into the next 5v5 Grand Arena for the next couple months. And I'm sure you're going to ask, what about 3v3 Grand Arena? I am not seeing the same degree of success inside of 3v3 Grand Arena. We see some people tried with the bigs. This is the bigs Dark Light or Datacron with Leia. We're seeing a very low success rate, and I think it makes sense because you want a lot of allies that keep feeding that turn meter train. Mon Mothma doesn't, she never, 3v3 was never her biggest forte. She really is the full team to assist and do all the turn meter, all that jazz. I mean, yeah, I mean, even if I take out the other guys, you know, it's maybe a Leia cleanup, but that's really the best that we're seeing here. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you're okay with me showing this Datacron off. I feel like I'm definitely a little bit more Datacron guide heavy this season, but I think it makes sense. I want to show what's super stupid and crazy with Datacrons, but also things like true bigs. These are important Datacrons that I don't want people missing out. Try to get that one, maybe get a second one, and you'll be kicking some serious butt. Until then, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I love you, and always remember how it's great to be in the Empire today. Oh, it's great to be in the Empire today. The sun never sets.